Before I do the actual drip, I'm just going to give my ganache one last bang on the bottom.
Okay, ready?
Oh, fuck. All right, we're going to have to do that one again. Hi, welcome to Cakes with Anna. This is Beth.
Hello.
And I'm Anna. We're going to show you how to make one of our really popular occasion cakes today. We call it the cheeky cherry drip cake, and you will see why. Let's get started. We're going to do a chocolate sponge.
And then we're going to fill it with both vanilla buttercream and chocolate ganache. So this has been in the fridge and it's set up nicely so there's slightly less wobble to it.
Great.
So I'm going to put the crumb coat on. This is just the normal vanilla buttercream. You want a fair amount on because you want to encase the crumbs, but what we don't want is a thick old layer because we want a nice cake to buttercream ratio. And I'm going to spread it out nicely. And spread it all the way around the edges.
So this is the crummy buttercream, isn't it?
Yes.
This is going on the cake to catch the crumbs. So it will look, I don't know, what does it look like? It doesn't look very professional, does it, when it's done? But it will end up looking really good. This is an imperative layer of a decorated cake.
I've smoothed it around with a palette knife and now I'm going to get a scraper and I want to hold the scraper to the base of the board and just pull it all around, so that we get a nice straight cake. And then you get this top. So you just want to peel that off, otherwise that'll get in your way later. Here we go. And you can see it does not have to be perfect. There's nothing perfect about this in any way, other than it is straight.
Straight sides. Great. So we're going to put that in the fridge,
Yep.
just for maybe 10 minutes or so, just to set it up, and then we can move on to our decorating. So while our cake is chilling in the fridge, we're going to make our buttercream colour. I think we've chosen a nice sort of burgundy and soft pink colour. We tend to use a fair amount of pink here. So I'm just going to give my buttercream a good mix and we'll start adding in the colour.
So I've let you do colour.
I do like the colours. Going in with a small amount of bright pink. The amount of a pea, we work in peas, so I want to get a nice light pink. And then I'm going to add a bit of brown to it and make it dusky rather than a clean pink. Crikey, look at this, too much brown in there. We do quite a lot of colour training here, don't we? We do a lot of what mixes with what to get this and how to get the right colour.
Yes. On our macaron ranges, it's like what sits nice next to what, and if you put the wrong ones together, they just look terrible.
They do. So I'm still a little bit pale. Let's get a little bit more pink in there.
What's your favourite colour from our colour palette?
Oh, I'm coral. I'm all about the coral. I want coral everything.
Yeah.
I mean, don't look at the ceiling in here. I would have everything coral if I could. Or our moss green. I do like our greens.
Yeah.
All right.
So, gonna grab a nice dollop. It's easier to put on more and then take it off than have to put on little bits and bobs of it. I'm gonna do exactly the same method as I did for the crumb coat. Take it all over the top, mash it around the sides. And then we are going to be putting a drip on this cake, so the top of the cake doesn't need to be as perfect as if we were making a feature of the top of the cake. I want it dead level, but I don't really need it to look smooth. And I'm going in with a cold scraper to start with, just to get the sides straight and the buttercream level.
These turntables, although great, actually with the acrylics, they slide a little bit on the top, so we do use a, if we can find one.
Oh, there it is.
So this silicone mat should, there we go, just stops the cake sliding around a bit.
So I know that that is dead straight. To see if a cake's straight, you do have to come eye level with it. You cannot tell any other way. And I'm just going to plug some holes.
Plug some holes.
Plug some holes. And then to get a nice smooth finish on it, what we use is just a bit of hot water. And it just heats up your scraper, which means when I pull round, it will create a much smoother finish. And because we're working with buttercream and not ganache or anything like that, we can go round really as many times as we want. And you're just pulling off a tiny bit every time. I'm just going to plug in.
But you've also got to think about what the decoration on your cake is, because if you're going to cover it with a drip, it doesn't need to be perfect.
And I've got this lip on the top again. If I was to make a feature of the top, I would cut that off with a hot knife. But because we're going to put a drip on it, I can just peel that off and it will still make a crisp edge, but it doesn't need to be too 90 degrees almost.
So while our cake is setting in the fridge, we're going to make our white chocolate ganache drip. Yeah. So this is a really normal white chocolate ganache recipe with a slightly higher cream content to just keep it at a liquid state at a slightly warmer temperature, but then when it comes to room temperature, it will set firm enough so that it doesn't carry on dripping. It's quite cool. So I'm going to use 55 grams of white chocolate. This is a Calibut white chocolate.
Yes.
I'm going to pop this in the microwave. Beth, will you weigh out 20 grams of whipping cream? I'm just going to put this white chocolate back in the microwave for another maybe 20 seconds.
Yeah.
We do now want to put our cream in the microwave and bring it to the boil.
Yeah.
This is such a small amount of cream that it will take maybe 30 seconds. We've got boiling cream here, straight in. Mix those two together. I've used this whipping cream before. It's not good. Alice, you've had weird things with this whipping cream, haven't you, being too thick? So I've mixed all my boiling cream into my melted white chocolate, and I've got a really lovely melted white ganache consistency. Now, something that might happen when you're making this ganache is if you stir it a lot, you'll get little air bubbles in it, and then when you pour it over your cake, you will still have those air bubbles. So something to do to get those air bubbles out is just give it a really good tap on the table or on the bottom of your hands, and it will bring the air bubbles to the top of the ganache.
Excellent tappage.
Good tapping. All right, so my air bubbles have gone. I'm going to go and get my cake from the fridge, and we're going to put it on a board, ready to put the drip over the top. We want to take our cake off the acrylic and put it on a cake board.
Yes. So I've got another acrylic. I'm going to pop that on top. This is why your cake needs to be set. Flip them upside down. Release the edges gently. And then the cake should pop off. Just going to use a bit of the buttercream that we used earlier so that it sticks to the board, and then flip them back over. There you go.
So our cake is here ready to drip, but actually we haven't coloured our drip yet, so I'm going to colour it with a burgundy colour and get a nice dark rich plum colour. I'm also going to put my ganache back in the microwave for maybe 10 seconds. If your ganache isn't quite warm enough and you've got a cold cake, your drip will get cold too quick and seize up and not quite drip down the sides far enough. Before I do the actual drip, I'm just going to give my ganache one last bang on bottom.
Okay, ready?
So we're going to pour our ganache straight through the centre of the cake. And then working fairly quickly, I'm just going to push it to the edges and let it do its thing and just slowly drip down the sides. You just have to let it do its thing.
And then if you think it's not moving, so here he looks lovely, But here we've got not much drippage. You can just give him a little helping hand. So you can leave it out for a little bit and he'll keep going. And then as soon as you put it in the fridge, it'll start setting.
Okay, let's go and put him in the fridge. So here we have our cake. We've got our set white chocolate ganache drip, although not white. Plum. We're going to put our 6 blobs of buttercream on the top, and then we're going to top that off with some glitter cherries. There is nothing that glitter cherries don't make better.
They can solve any problem, I think.
Yeah. I'm using a 16mm nozzle, and that will give you a really nice round blob. Now, I'm going to hold my nozzle about 1 centimetre away from the cake, and I'm just going to keep it completely still, and you can see that the blob grows itself. Okay, let's cherry these. These cherries are ones that have stalks on them, and they just look so lovely. They're slightly 70s. They come out looking like this, and it smells like the strongest, most delicious amaretto spirit. And so we just want to make sure that we take any excess liquid off. So to put the glitter on, you don't need to use any sort of glue. The cherries themselves are already quite sticky.
Yeah.
So this edible glitter is what we use. And I'm literally just going to tap the glitter over the top of the cherry. Just get any excess off. And then I'm just going to sit this straight onto my cake.
Nice.
Okay, here's my final cherry. I think
Beautiful.
this is my finished cake. So here we have it. This is our cheeky cherry drip cake. I love it.
It's great.
I hope you've enjoyed making the cake with us. Come check out some other videos we've done. There's lots of other videos with how we've filled the cake and all our recipes and all the ingredients we use. We'll see you next time.
Stay cheeky. There's a whole glitter conspiracy theory.
What?
There's like glitter in something weird, and then they don't tell us what it's in.
Who are you on about?
There's a glitter conspiracy theory where there's 2 glitter manufacturers and they don't tell you who their biggest supplier is. But we'll get cancelled.